Time now being 5 o'clock. Let's call tonight's meeting of the Racine County Public Works, Parks and Facilities Committee meeting to order. The June 11th meeting is called to order again. My name is Taylor Wishaw and I'm the vice chair of the committee. Chairman Ernie Rossi has asked to be excused. Due notice of this meeting has been given and the open meetings law requirements have been met. Items appear on the agenda in the order in which they were received in the office. Committee members present tonight include Supervisors Horth, Hoffman, Supervisor Varanth should be calling in, and Supervisor Weatherston. Supervisor Varanth calling in right now, and Supervisor Preisker is also excused. County staff present tonight include Director Raleigh Beam, Chad Sampson, Shannon Kurth, Joe Kremis, and Kim Parsons. Tonight we have members of Racine County Youth and Governance present who will be participating in the meeting in a non-binding advisory capacity. That is Kale, pronounce your last name? Ocano and Madison Sabo. Very nice. Please do not speak unless you are recognized by the chair. Also, please silence your cell phones as this meeting will be recorded. And we will now begin the meeting. The first item on the agenda then is review possible approval of the draft summary minutes from the May 14th meeting.
So moved.
Okay.
Seconded.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Youth and Governance, how do you vote? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. Do we have any public comments tonight? Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker on topic. Any members of the public wish to speak tonight? We have none. Okay. I have no comments from the chair. Next is review, discussion, and possible action on the banner placement approval policy. So I'll turn that over to Director Beam.
Yes, Supervisor Wishaw. This is something that we wanted to, I guess, make a policy going forward with this. We had a few requests, the original one from Raymond and the second one from Norway about putting some banners or some advertising. I don't want to say advertising, but some recognition on some of the islands of the medians. And so after the second request, we decided to go with a policy. Engineering decided to take on that policy, and I'm going to let Shannon explain that to you.
So we went with the recommendations by the Public Works Committee for the previous banner policy that Raymond wanted. And then when Norway came to us, we decided that we would just keep it as the same, with taking in the city of Racine and the city of Milwaukee's current policies. So we put that together and it will be the same things that we discussed, the 3 by 5 foot banner. It would be placed on the opposite of the roadside, so the either sidewalk or the shoulder side, and that it would be high enough so that pedestrians would not be injured by it as well. And that the people who were asking for these banners, the village or municipality, would be responsible for mounting them, for putting them up 2 days in advance of their event, and then taking them down within 2 days after the event. If there was any damage to the banners, that they would be removed immediately. If any of the county staff would have to remove them, that they would be responsible for the cost of having the county staff remove.
Any additional comment, Supervisor Horth?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple of questions. I see here that this is being followed by the conditions and restrictions of section 62.04, blah, blah, blah. What does that exactly entail? So we understand what it is we're going to be assuming that all the rest of this aligns against it. I don't need word for word. I'm just looking at a high level overview.
It has been a long time since I've reviewed that section.
Okay.
I cannot give it to you word for word.
Well, part of the reason I'm asking is because I wonder where the qualification is as to what kind of banners can be let's say, put up?
The state doesn't give you any, the state actually does not want any put up. So it's based upon what the other municipalities have chosen is what we put in there.
So again, Joe's Bar and Grill decides they want to put banners down the center of Racine Boulevard. Does that get approved by this board or by, I guess, the local municipality? And we're only setting guidelines for what the banner looks like and how it's installed?
So this is only by the size and the criteria of, that we've been given, and it would be up to, if you want a limitation on what is put up there, we can put it in now based upon what you request right now for this approval, or it would be up to engineering's discretion.
I guess, just to finish, thank you. I guess my thought is that I don't know that we would want to be the governing body of what gets put up, or meaning the message, if you will. However, I would hope that local municipalities would have some level of taste when it comes to proper respect for what they're posting up there. And so
There is that in here.
I'm sorry, I just saw it tonight, so I'm just
Okay.
trying to read it now.
So in the back of it, it says no banners will be allowed at signalized intersections, on poles with traffic control signage, on poles with utility lines or camera equipment installed. No banners will allow for advertisement or promotion of commercial products or services, religious, political, or social beliefs and views, gambling, individuals or organizations associated with the above topics.
That, by the way, perfect. When I looked, I did read it quickly here. I just
Right.
didn't get that. But I would still say that this has to be then made as a decision by the local municipality that allows those banners to go up, meaning the message and anything else for that matter. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Supervisor Weatherson.
Oh, thank you. I read this well-done list of all these things we can't do, but you don't say what we can do. I think I just heard you answer that. You said we don't want to have any banners. If that's where we're headed, why don't we just say that?
It's not that we don't want any banners, it's that the state does not want any banners on their state highways.
Okay,
So we've already allowed the Village of Raymond to put up banners on light poles. And it was for honoring veterans or people who are serving currently.
all right, so I'm gonna repeat my question. We say, no, 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 don't do these things, but we don't say what we would accept.
Well, we will accept something that is smaller than 3 by 5,
It's not what I'm asking you. You
okay?
have 17 no's.
Right.
Nothing on here is positive, like we will accept this. Why don't we give examples of what's acceptable?
We usually don't like to give a limitation on what people are allowed to put up. So we have what you can't put up. If we say you can put up this, this, or this, then we get a lot of calls saying, but can I put up this? Can I put up this? Can I put up this? If I just tell you, this is what you're allowed to put up, it limits what their imagination could be.
So, okay, let me ask the question a little differently because I think you're just going right around it. All these are negatives. Is there something we would accept?
Yes.
Name one.
What we're allowing in the Village of Raymond.
No, name one. What would you accept? Tell me what that is.
A banner that would be for military, a banner that would be
So
for,
why don't we say that?
we could.
I don't think you get what I'm getting at. You have all these negatives and no positive reinforcement saying, we would accept this.
So I think what Supervisor Weatherson is saying, if we can give some examples, say, we would.
What would be acceptable?
Acceptable, such as Veterans Memorial,
Yeah.
such as, if there's going to be a parade for 4th of July, if there's going to be, an upcoming event that the village is going to be hosting, we can certainly add that in there.
Are there examples from other municipalities or counties that have what he's asking for that do?
No,
No?
No,
This
they
is,
don't.
this is a first for us. So it's, again, this is our first crack at it. And it says draft. So I think it's a
Sure.
good idea of what you're saying, because we could give those examples, even you can even put like a small picture of what there is.
Mr. Negative instead of, hey, there's some things we could do.
Mhm.
Sorry, just to reiterate, where again is this coming from? Like, what was the idea around this again?
Well, this started from the Village of Raymond asked to put some veterans advertisement on the roundabout.
Got it.
And we certainly weren't opposed to it. So then we brought it over to the board over here. Then over in Norway, they asked something similar to it. And they said, okay, let's get a policy going. If there's gonna be some more requests, because you certainly want to have some sort of control of what is gonna be put out there, what shouldn't be or should be.
Right.
And put out there. So this is where that came from. This is obviously our first crack at it. And I certainly think it is a good idea to have
Yeah.
some examples of, what would be an acceptable and an appropriate,
Right.
encouraged.
I do agree with Supervisor Weatherston, though. I do think we should have some examples. If we can work with staff to try to identify that, I think that'd be a good idea. Chairman, would you like to make some comments?
Yeah, the only thing that Norway was looking for right now is to put flags up. Fourth of July. Sure. And maybe somewhere in the future, you might want to have Christmas banner. Veterans Day banner. I mean, you can buy a banner for this money,
Sure.
that's what we're looking for is some people, so we can put flags on, so 10 holes around on a highway line.
Supervisor North?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd then go ahead and make a motion that the draft be accepted as presented with the additions of the types of examples or opportunities that could exist for banners to be, let's just say, generated.
Seconds.
All right, motion by Horth, seconded by Weatherston. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, and youth and governance, how do you vote? Okay, excellent. Motion carries. Next up is item number 6, which we're gonna pass over because that was already handled on Tuesday and was passed unanimously to accept Supervisor Caprellian to be appointed to the Racine Board of Harbor Commissioners. So that was already addressed on Tuesday. Next up then is review, discussion, possible approval of resolution reclassifying certain county roads in Racine County. This is requesting first and second reading on June 23rd, 2026. So we'll turn it over to Director Beam.
Yes, Supervisor Wishaw. This is something that the DOT and Shannon and Joe can probably go into a little bit more detail than I can, but every so often they go through our road classification, whether it's a Class B highway or the weight limits on these highways, and they will redesign what that purpose of that road is going to be for, whether it's an arterial road, whether it's going to be or whatever, they're going to end up classifying it. So as the conditions change for the road, say maybe the traffic volume increases or development increases on that road, they'll come back on that road and then reclassify that road. And so that's what's happening right here. I'm gonna let Shannon, do you want to go over this with them and what they're doing? Let Shannon go over what the roads that they picked out on this. I think some are over in Norway and some might be even on the east end, and they reclassify the roads of what that use is, that road, what the use for that road is now designated for.
So our classifications that we are allowed to make the classification changes per the state's requirements are for 38, Highway C, Highway S, Highway G, Highway 83, and Bridge Drive, Lake Drive. The reasons for the classification changes are on the little spreadsheet that they attached. And they changed them due to the ADTs, and then one of them was because they took the dead end out of the roadway. So that was the reasons why they changed these. I also looked into it a little bit more. One of them also has a school on it, and they wanted to make sure that that classification was notified in there as well. So these they'll change. They're all being upgraded. None of them are being lowered. So they're going to make the roads a higher roadway. So they'll go from a minor collector to a major collector. That's and some are going from a major to an arterial.
Can you explain what ADT is for those maybe that are gonna watch and maybe?
Average daily traffic.
Okay, all right, thank you. Supervisor Horth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My favorite question, is this going to cost the county money for any changes to signage, stationery, anything at all?
No, the functional classification doesn't change any of our signage. It doesn't change anything as far as what costs we are expending. Part of it is the urbanized area and the rural areas, which are, if you look at the maps, there's a little map on there. There's a gray area. Well, it doesn't look very gray on this print. The highlighted area on this map is the
Really?
urban area.
You expect to be able to
Yeah,
read
sure.
that?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
At least appreciate your honesty.
That is the urban areas, and we are more apt to get funding in urban areas than we are in rural areas for STP.
Maybe you can help educate me just a little on one specific example to help me understand a little more for the rest of them. I see down here, which is obviously my backyard with Waterford. I see Bridge Drive, North Lake Drive, Marsh Road. What exactly is being done so myself and or any of the other supervisors know exactly what's going to be changed here? Just by way of example.
The only thing that would be changed is the way that the funding is granted.
They're talking for construction projects, how the funding's granted. So the higher classification of the road, the more funding there is available for those roads for construction. For example, when she talked about this urban area that is somewhat highlighted, we'll say on the east end of the county, there's a lot more funding that's available for that. They call so there's two types for us as a county, which is gonna be much different than a village or a town. There's something called STP. There's STP urban, STP rural. STP urban, it's a much larger pot of money because the amount of traffic volume that's going on it. Roads tend to be concrete, they tend to be wider, they tend to be 4 lanes instead of 2 lanes. So there's a lot more allocated to that than the STP rural. And so this is what sewer pack defines as a STP urban area for Racine County. Not all counties have that. Walworth County doesn't have any urban area. Milwaukee, almost the entire part is urban.
When you say STP for youth,
Surface transportation
thank you.
project, yeah.
Just for youth and governance for the acronyms.
Thank you. That's helpful. Much appreciated.
Supervisor Weatherson.
Okay, the new guy is looking at this, that came in the package,
Yes.
and there's all these little MAs, PAs, MAX, locks. Can you send me a cheat sheet so I know what those actually are?
The PA and the MA and the MAC. Yeah.
They're in the title up here and then they're down.
Right, so so in your map that's on there, down in the bottom left-hand corner, it has
Principal.
PA, MA, MG, the major collector, which would be the MJC, and then the minor would be MIC,
I don't see.
MAC.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the same.
So the PA is the principal arterial.
Okay,
That
gotcha.
MA would be the minor arterial. The MAC
See,
is,
I said new guy and you supplied me with the information. I just couldn't figure it out.
see, I try to give you everything you
Yeah, you
need.
did. Thank you very much. Thank you for answering that.
Sure.
So again, just to confirm, like the average citizen is not going to notice anything. This is more of just,
This is more of a funding mechanism and just a classification more for, I would say actually the DOT more for even us. And that's what and Supervisor Horth was asking if as far as funding,
sure.
the DOT is actually doing almost in the entire amount of the legwork for this. So we're just approving it.
What's nice is there's a good educational component for this board to be aware of that. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Supervisor Hoffman.
I was just gonna make a motion,
Okay, go ahead.
resolution.
Actually, youth and governance.
I just had a question about when you were referring to the chart at the top of this part of the spreadsheet. The first abbreviation is IH. When I looked at the key in the map down here, I did not see that abbreviation fully set out. I wondered if there was something different about that one compared to the other ones.
The reason you don't have it on here is that's the interstate.
Oh.
So we don't approve anything for the interstate. It's in there because that's the DOT's Excel sheet. So it's on there for them, but because we're not approving anything, it's not on there for us.
Okay, thank you for answering that.
Sure.
All right, Chairman, any questions? Any additional comments or questions? And Supervisor Hoffman?
Like to make a motion that we move forward with resolution 2026 XX.
All right. All right, motioned by Hoffman, seconded by Weatherston. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, youth and governance? All right, motion carries. All right, next up then is item number 8, review, discussion, and possible action on a request from Yana Mitchell to hold a Mai Tai club sessions at Pritchard Park on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is for committee approval only. And with that, I'll turn it over again to Director Beam and then possibly Chad.
You want to start? No, I'm good. Go ahead, Chad. Take off.
Yeah, I
Best first meeting as a public works meeting, so I'm gonna let him
Over
go.
to Chad.
So Raleigh didn't really announce it, but I guess I'm here because I'm temporarily the parks manager for the summer. So we're gonna see how that goes and take a swing for the fences. So this is my 9th day, so don't beat me up too bad. 28 years in the county, but 9 days in parks. So there you go. I don't know. Do we want our person to? I'll give the overall.
Sure,
So
yeah.
basically, we've been asked to have an event on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Pritchard Park. Not using a pavilion, not using the facilities for, I believe, some type of yoga or stretching, or I don't believe, no, I'm wrong. Okay. Okay, I didn't know what it was. So the person that actually took the phone call was on bereavement this week. Her father passed away, so I didn't have a chance to talk to her too much. But anyways, they want to have an event at the park, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I guess I'm not as familiar with it as I thought it would be with it, but we normally would charge if they're using a facility. Sometimes we charge if you have a special event, even if it's not in a facility at the park. And we're debating whether we should allow this to happen or not internally. I asked if there was a precedent somewhere else in the previous workings of the park system, and nobody could really think of anything that we didn't actually have, like a contract or a single event or a continual event. So it was kind of out there. So we thought that we'd talk to the committee and see what the committee decided. But if you want more details, I believe our applicant is here.
If you'd like to test the mic to make sure it's on. And if you could state your name and address for the record, and then if you'd like to go ahead and tell us a little more about the event, please.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Ayana Mitchell. You asked for my address, correct?
Yeah, please.
I live at 4106 Victory Avenue in Racine.
Mhm.
I'm here today to propose a Tuesdays and Thursdays event from 11 to 3 for Muay Thai, which is a particular type of martial art. I will not be, as the director said, I won't be using any of the facilities. Everything that will be supplied by me through my own funds, so nothing will be asked of the city. What the premise would just be outdoor and partner drills, instruction drills, very limited contact sparring amongst the community, whoever decides to come. I will be handing out flyers to the community. I plan to have a banner that, if allowed, I can tie up to like a tree or something in the park to draw more foot attention. But that would be just my main goal, just to draw some community attention. I thought it would be an excellent use of the park during those hours. It's not really peak, I believe. It's a great use of space. And I'm new here. I'm an Illinois resident, newly moved here. So I thought this would be a great way to build a community and teach a little bit of what I know.
Well, first off, welcome. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Supervisor Horth?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would love to hear just a little bit about the demographic of the people that'll be joining you for this. I mean, old, young, across all walks of life. I'm just interested to hear more about who's going to participate in this.
Of course, of course. So my target range would be from teen to adult. Adult will be however young you are to make it to the park to participate. So it's all fitness levels are welcome. You can come not knowing a thing. You can come with as much experience as you would like. I would like to start having sessions for people around the ages of 15 and up. Um, just to make sure that with the little children, they're a little bit harder to watch. The teenagers and adults, you can come as you want.
And how long are these sessions? Or I'm not long, I'm sorry, apologize. How many people will be in, let's say, any of these sessions, roughly?
So I would like to host the sessions in 60-minute increments. So about 4 to 5 sessions a day. And then if possible, I would like to cap it off at 20 students per session just to make sure that we're not overcrowding the space and that I can watch everybody and making sure everybody is being safe while they're practicing.
Can county board supervisors come and participate?
Yes, sir. Yes, I welcome everybody in the committee, please.
Gonna sign chairman up. Yeah, we'll get you both signed up there.
Please,
By the
I
way,
welcome everybody, please,
I
anybody.
think it sounds wonderful, and I think it's a great cause for the community and an opportunity to bring people together and to really give something back. So I applaud you for your effort on it.
Thank you, thank you.
You have, you may have mentioned this, I apologize. You have accreditation, license and everything, correct? For this?
Not accreditation, but I can certainly look into that to make sure that we cross all our Ts and dot all our Is, yes.
Is there, Chad, is there a staff recommendation? Just so like, I mean, we're consistent with other entities that, may.
The staff didn't really have a specific recommendation because we had no other situation like this. I think the staff's idea was we would probably prefer to have a contract written.
Sure.
And maybe if they're going to be charged in the future, have it maybe be a percentage be part of that contract.
Okay.
So that would probably be our recommendation, maybe a start for this year, or I don't know. Just kind of see how it goes. If it turns out to be 3 people every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's kind of done, who knows?
Right.
But I think long-term, if this is gonna be successful contract with a percentage,
Yeah.
a certain space, a certain time, that would be the best way to do this.
And that's just for the sake of transparency. I mean, that's consistent with, how we do business with everybody else, correct?
Correct.
So just so you don't think that that's not consistent with how the county does business. So,
No, if anything, I would prefer the contract as well, just to make sure that all terms are understood on both sides.
sure. Okay, well, that's good. Supervisor Horth.
The one thing I would also encourage, and just to make sure from a county perspective, we're protected, is that any type of an insurance requirement that we might have should be included in that language that protects you, and that certainly would protect the county as well.
That's one thing I have input into my registration processing as well. All students must sign a form stating that I am not liable for any injuries that might occur. That's why I'm very strict about enforcing light touch sparring, light contact drills. I do not want my students having sparring or causing injuries on the ground. We're outside, it's a dangerous space, but we should still be able to have a good time and still learn.
Chairman, you have comments?
I was gonna say with recreation, would this fall under recreational community like baseball leagues, that type of stuff? For county?
At the county level, this would fall underneath recreation and immunity. On our level, I can't speak.
Right.
On our level, correct.
Somebody hurts themselves like that.
Okay,
So,
that's good. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Youth and governance? Okay. Do we have a,
Motion
Motion
to
then.
approve as submitted.
okay. All right, motioned by Supervisor Horth, seconded by Supervisor Hoffman. And with that, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, youth and governance? All right. All right, motion passes then. Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll have you connect with Chad, probably tomorrow. I would assume.
Yeah, not tomorrow, I'm off tomorrow, but next week, we can contact next week. Is that's okay, Monday with you?
That's fine.
Okay,
Excellent.
I'll get your contact information. Just bring it up to me. You can bring it up to me.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you all so much.
Congratulations. Very good. Okay, and we'll get the chairman signed up too. So, okay, next item then is item number 9, review, discussion, and possible action on an appeal by Gilliam to hold a Boots and Bandanas rodeo themed community event at Franksville Park on Friday, August 28th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. This request was denied by the Parks Department due to another event already scheduled for that location and time. So with that, I will turn it over to Director Beam.
Yes, Supervisor Wishaw, this was the petitioner requested to have this event at Franksville Park. Park staff originally denied the event for two reasons really. One, that park is already a very busy park, one of our busier parks that we have. We have a standing contract with the beer garden for that park. And additionally, at that time, I believe there is an event already scheduled with the beer garden for, I believe, I apologize if I don't remember the name of the event, but I think it's a food truck event that you have going on.
Our monthly food truck nights, and then it's
Can
also.
you come up to the podium? Sorry, but we're being recorded, so we got to have this on.
You need name and information.
If we could, yes, please.
Ken Mitchell, 9312 South Oak Creek Court, Franklin, Wisconsin, owner of the Franksville Craft Beer Garden. So yeah, it's our food truck night that night. But it's also the county golf outing. And as a sponsor, we tend to have a lot of flow from when the golf event ends to the beer garden afterwards. So it's like a doubly, I guess I'll say busy night. It's probably one of our busiest Friday nights of the entire summer. Even to the point now where on Fridays and Saturdays, we're pretty peaked at capacity for parking. Yeah, so like the south parking lot, if anyone who's been to the beer garden, like right now it's completely flooded. So that just means people expand. We've been having to do things like make sure we have someone in the front hall to make sure people aren't expanding parking into there. So we're not disturbing people who have that rented. We've been renting Kids Connection lot on some Friday nights where we know we're going to have a little bigger event going on. Events like we have a Touch a Truck event with the Village of Caledonia the week before where we rent out like multiple pavilions just because we know the space it's going to take after 9 years. Our biggest goal is not to basically ruin someone else's picnic in the park, if you will, for our cars needing to park there. So.
So, and because of those reasons, staff ended up denying it. They weren't very happy with our denial. They said there's another way. Their only other way was the request to the committee. So this is their request to the committee. I don't see anyone else in attendance on their behalf, but.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, I would assume that the applicant was notified, and did the applicant signal that they were going to?
Correct.
Come tonight,
It was their request to put this on the agenda.
Okay. And then did they signal that they were not going to make it tonight, or was there any type of,
They're just given a time and a date, and then it's up to them.
they did not communicate that they were not gonna come,
Correct.
other than what's here? Okay.
And yet they're not here.
Okay, Supervisor Weatherston, I'm sorry, I saw his light on
It's
first.
quite right. Thank you. I happen to have the Franksville Park in my backyard, and so I know that the Fridays out there are very busy. A lot of cars parking on lawns and in the ballparks. That's mainly because they go see Ken and buy a lot of beer. Luckily, I can walk home from there. So with the food truck night and knowing that it's a Friday night, which is probably your busiest nights, I believe. out
Those
there.
are our busiest.
Yeah,
That's correct.
especially in August. I don't see why we should approve this. I'll make a motion to deny it.
Supervisor Horth.
Thank you. I'm a little confused, which isn't the first time. So a group has specifically requested for August the 28th, and they were denied, correct?
That's correct.
And I'm sorry, my apologies. Your involvement now in this topic?
I own the beer garden, so I let,
That
Ben
answers
and
my
Casey,
question.
yes, I let Ben and Casey know I would come in case you guys had questions.
That
because
answers
I
my
just
question.
Believe in transparency, so I wanted to be here, so you didn't hear it secondhand from
By
someone
the way,
else.
thank you. I must have missed that in the beginning. So we're basically saying they have requested this, it has been denied. They were given the knowledge of when the meeting was going to take place, and yet they have not shown up, chose not to be here to represent themselves in this topic. I have to support Supervisor Weatherston's motion to deny this. This doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. There's a motion by Supervisor Weatherston and then
Seconded.
seconded by Supervisor Horth. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's, Youth and Governance. All right. Very good. All right. Motion passes to deny this, and then we will submit that correspondence for denial tomorrow. Correct? Okay. All right. Excellent. Next up then is the road plan discussion. So this is a continuation of our first discussion from our last meeting. Supervisor Ranth, I don't know if you're, probably don't have these documents in front of you, but these were emailed out. So in front of us, we have our copy of a 5-year plan and then a 25-year outlook plan. And then with that, I'm going to turn it over to Raleigh and then Joe. Joe did a really good job of putting this together. I think this is really impressive. So I'll stop talking and let Raleigh talk.
All right, Vice Chair, I'm gonna actually just hand it right over to Joe. I'm gonna let Joe discuss the changes that he made from the first one that we saw. I guess you can run through the 5-year plan. And this is what we're gonna be, sounds like we're gonna be shooting for with the 2027 budget.
Yep.
And go ahead, Joe.
Okay, thanks. First of all, this 5-year plan is not what will be submitted, but it is kind of our guideline for the road portion of what could be submitted. I want to be very clear that there will be other things on the 5-year plan. The reason that we wanted to get this submitted now is to basically show what needs immediate triage and attention on the roadways and at least a sample of what that would cost. On the 5-year plan, there's an estimated roadway cost project roughly in the middle of the page. That column would be the total cost of the project based on all the same math parameters we talked about last time. The estimated total cost to Racine County, the green column, that is, again, very theoretical, but that's what it would actually cost us to do that. That should include theoretical labor, the actual roadway material costs. We used the county KR project total cost as a parameter for that. So in general, we can't put everything in every scenario in for every roadway, but based on a 2-lane highway for county KR, that's where these costs came from. You can also see there's a maximum aid and funding percentage right next to that. A lot of that is still blank because we're waiting for that stuff to come in from the DOT. We don't know what we'll get funding for yet, but some of them you'll see percentages. We just don't have a maximum amount. But you can kind of see that there are funding mechanisms besides ask the county for money and we'll pay for it type of numbers. So that's mostly just an illustration of how this could work. We just kind of need to finalize it and get numbers before we actually submit anything. Where the priority came from of what went into which year. On the larger document, the 25-year plan, the main change was that there's a blue column that says priority rank. You can see it right on the first page. That was just labeling which, it put them highest to lowest order. It put a number to it. So if you find number 1 roughly halfway down the first front page, that's the Newman to 31 segment. That's priority number 1 based on all of the math that we came up with, or I came up with last time that we discussed.
Hey, Joe, just for the I apologize.
I was gonna ask him to repeat that again. I'm trying to follow along on page 1.
Oh,
The last part about
the 25-year, which is this one, the back one.
Keep going. Thank you.
Okay,
And on
yeah,
the priority
so
rank.
I'll go to back to the kind of priority of it.
And Joe, when you have your priority rank, just to catch people who haven't heard, how did you come up with your priority rank?
Sure, I'll describe that after just so we stay on the same track. But the priority rank is showing which one should be done first. So labeled number 1 about halfway down. Highway C, Newman to 31. We get the most complaints. I believe it's our oldest road from 1975. There's lots of issues that make it number one. Where that math came from, in the packet, the very last page of that large packet shows how the math is broken down. Depending, if you want me to go over it more than this, I'm just gonna do a recap, but I'm willing to go over more if you guys would like. The urgency and priority, whichever we're going to label it for this discussion, that's done using weighted math based on road condition, how quickly it deteriorated, so basically how much it goes down in rating each year. And then the amount of traffic on the road to make sure that we address at least without putting too much or too little. We tried to balance it, but that's the public concern versus the actual engineering concern behind it. So those are weighted at half of the math is current condition, and then the other half is split between how quickly it deteriorated and how much traffic sees the road every single day. Before we go on, does anyone want a little bit more on that math portion, or are we okay with that? Okay. So then that math is how I got those priority scores that I discussed on the front page, and then transferred those into the one-page document, which was the 5-year plan.
So this one-page document basically takes this information and addresses those priorities over the first 5 years.
In general, yes, there are some exceptions based on how long it would take to design and other things of that nature. But in general, yes, if it's,
In theory, that was your intent, to give us a one-page to tell us this would be basically 5 years, the first year, 27 would be 6.7, 11.2, going on down as to the total dollar amounts.
can you repeat the question?
Sure. If I take a look right here at 2027.
Yep.
It tells me that the estimated cost for the Racine County would be 6.7, almost 6.8 million. However, I know there isn't grant opportunity or I should say DOT funding or anything yet.
Right.
Then I would go down and it would be 2028 would be 11.2. And so those would be the estimated amounts that carried forward from the master document, because it's only addressing those first 5 years of priorities.
I'm still not totally sure I understand. Let me, oh, Shannon. Yeah.
So yes, but no. So there are fundings that are already in the next year's budget that are already planned that got pushed in there for next year because there is funding tied to it, so it has to be done within a certain time frame. But when we looked for that funding, it has to have a PACER rating of a 4 or lower in order to get that. So the road has to be in a poor condition before we try to get any type of funding.
Let me rephrase my question simply. If I go just to the paved miles for next year, 2027, we're showing 13.8 paved miles is what the assumption would be, given the variables that you just mentioned.
Yes, sorry, 11, when you said 11 before, I was still looking for that in the dollars. Thanks, you were speaking dollars.
By the way, I have a masterful way of communicating that confuses the hell out of people, just so you know.
Right, so I think to answer your question, that 11.87 paved miles would theoretically cost $6.7 million upfront, minus the funding that we are generally reimbursed later, would be 6.2 in this case.
Perfect.
If that
It's
answers.
really, it's a good quality document, and I know it's got variables to it, but it gives us a real clear understanding of at least what the assumptions are. Thank you.
Sure.
Supervisor Hoffman.
My question, as you had mentioned, I'm one of them that's gotten the multiple phone calls and complaints about Highway C between Newman Road and Highway 31.
Yeah.
As I look at the design, 2 years, I'm kind of curious what it's taking 2 years for the design. I'm guessing utilities is probably the big thing. I guess I'm questioning why we're not like 1 year into the design already because of all the calls and complaints that's been going on this particular section.
I can actually answer that.
Okay.
We didn't have this budgeted last year
Okay.
inside it, so that's the biggest thing. And a design can take at least 2 years on a project like that. You have a lot of utility coordination, you have a lot of real estate. So the real estate, you end up doing buys, or you're going to be doing temporary limited easement or permanent limited easement. All those take a voluminous amount of time, unfortunately, to get the process going. The other thing on a road like this is we tend to wait to get what they call that STP funding, that surface transportation funding for this. This is going to be an urban area. Those applications only come out every few years. If the county were to pull this in-house, you're talking an average of probably a $4 million project. With it, if we wait for that funding, it can be down to an 80-20 split. And so we can knock that down to a mere, $500,000. And so that's some of the reason why is we're anticipating that funding coming at us, and we're going to try to grab that when it comes.
Was this project kicked down the road at one point or another where it was discussed it was gonna be fixed, and then budget restraints, we decided not to move forward with it?
That is correct.
Okay, I just wanted to know all the truth on it as I'm taking these calls. So the design would be 2 years, and we're hopeful if budget goes the way it goes, we're gonna start building in 2029.
Correct.
Okay,
Possibly.
possibly.
It's
So
funding dependent.
with SDP, DOT picks our window of when we can build that project.
Okay.
So I don't want to say that, yes, it will be done in 29. However, we're looking at milling that portion and paving it so that we can fix some of that.
Some temporary relief.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct, yeah, we're looking at an 1.5 inch mill, and then we'll do a scratch coat where the potholes are. What a scratch coat is almost like a leveler. And then we put a finishing surface on top of that. So at least folks will have a smooth ride. Now that is a temporary fix. It's gonna be a Band-Aid, it's truly, because you're gonna have what they call reflective cracks come right through that asphalt. And a reflective crack is when the base is bad underneath it and you pave on top of bad base, especially in asphalt, specifically in asphalt, those cracks follow through that asphalt and come to the surface. You can get a few years out of it though. And it's with this case, because of the condition of Highway C, we're going to try to put this patch on it.
Thank you.
Chairman, you want to come up?
I did, sure, I can.
So when you have the mile of paved miles, the third column, fourth column over, is that lane miles? Or is that
Road miles.
road miles? Okay. So they're all 2-lane roads. You're gonna do 22 lane miles?
So I'm trying to remember where I actually baked that in here on what page. But the math that I did to get the cost, did the math by lane.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is baked into the cost. I believe it's on page 6 in the larger document, how that laid out. So I believe you weren't here last time, so I will.
No, I wasn't there.
Sorry.
Sorry.
At the bottom of that page, it is the total cost, all inclusive. When we were done, this is what we paid cost.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because the question I have is what can staff pave, get all the RMA stuff work done, and then the cost is it possible to pave the roads that we've got on like 2027 if we got all the funding and everything worked out for?
If we're paving, in-house paving, I think after looking at last year, we'd be comfortable paving in-house about 5 miles would be our comfort level.
And only asphalt, just to be clear.
Right.
Correct, yeah, no concrete.
No
We
concrete.
can do concrete patches, and we do that for the state, but as far as as far as Racine County, and every county I know for the most part, it's very few counties out there do any type of mainline concrete work. It's a different animal.
Right. So then when we get to the cost, that's all in-house costs, basically.
For the purposes of this, yes.
Okay.
For
Because-
the asphalt, this is discussed, but for the concrete, that is actual
Right, that's based on the
bids.
bid that we received this year for Spring Street.
So, yeah, there's a few concrete on here, but most of it's asphalt. So.
Right.
All right.
Supervisor Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is really a good quality document. My question is, did you do this in this format for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Or is this a new creation?
This is completely brand new as of when I was asked
Okay.
before the last meeting.
Okay, that helps my next question or my next comment. I would be strongly encouraging then that you have a vehicle in here somehow that addresses the results when we get to the end of the year or as we're going through the year. An ability to be able to see how accurate were we? And by the way, you're going to have pluses and minuses, and that's always going to happen. But it'll at least let us know that the process is working or it's not, and it needs to be modified. So I'd only be making that recommendation.
We do have our 5-year plan that we do update, and we do put in the extra information each year. Like, this one was the 5-year that we submitted last year for budget. And we've updated the 26 column to state what we did receive for capital. And then we also put, which you can't see on my sheet because it's over here in the document that I have on my computer, but we'll put in what we paid out in that project so that we can keep track of what our budgets are.
You do not. So this is what she's referring to. I call it as our working 5-year plan. That's what we actually have submitted into budget, what we've got back, what we thought the project would cost, what it actually costs. So that's a living document that we, and we can certainly supply that to you. But that's what we have internally. We've always had that since I remember.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we follow the results and understand that, by the way, our forecasting, our budgeting is accurate. We're looking at it properly. Here's the results. Or, okay, guys, we had a miss and we need to revisit it. But that's what I wanted to understand, so that at mid-year, you can maybe give us an update, or at the end of the year, you can give us an update. How'd we do? Were we successful at our assumptions?
All of our projects have a working Excel spreadsheet that has our starting budget and then any invoice or cost that's incurred at that time that I have access to. So if it's an in-house project and I haven't gotten the numbers from ops yet or from accounting on how much ops has charged at that point, I don't have that. But if there's any invoice that we've purchased a culvert or any of that, that's already in there.
Right.
Or if there's DOT dollars involved, I have all of their invoices on there as well.
We can leave it at opportunities for you to take a look at keeping us informed as to how we're doing. Leave it at that, letting us know, but.
Anytime you want to know,
but
you
this
can
board needs to know.
call and ask.
Okay, I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for whether we have a time frame. Like, by the way, we're now getting quarterly updates,
Yeah, like
the projects that are going on.
right.
Something like this might be helpful to help just keep us informed on a proactive basis. So that way you set your plans accordingly to anticipate those requests. Fair enough?
Do you think that's possible? Like if we did like the maintenance update?
Sure. Yeah. We did that a little bit last year with KR. We told you where we were with the budget. Once it was complete, we told you what we had left over, because we usually go under on most of our projects. There are some times that we do go over in certain items. With the road, the most notorious thing is when you have bad base. You can do all the geotech that you want.
Sure.
But you do a geotech every half a mile, but the likelihood, did you catch it all? No. And so you're gonna have what we call base patching. We have to dig up the ground, put breaker rock in. That gets very expensive depending on how far it is. But that's just one thing. That's just one way that you can usually go over. The rest of it, if you go over, it's because you underestimated what the whole project, the cost is gonna. Usually the bids come in higher, is what it is. That's the most likely scenario, and which you find that out up front.
I wasn't going to say anything else, but I guess I lied. Quickly, I had requested even at the county board level to understand how the board has been successful or not when it comes to the last 3 years worth of budgeting performance and what the actual numbers came into. And Gwen Zimmer was nice enough to put together an actual document that she sent to us. So we could see that they budgeted X and they came in at Y. So we just understand what the trends are. And I'm asking a similar question for purposes of education here, so we can follow that as well. That's as simple as that.
So are you,
Thank you.
are you looking for a similar template like the maintenance department sends out? Similar guide?
Fair question, Mr. Chairman. I don't know what I'm looking specifically for by way of a document.
Sure.
As much as I am that we have this conversation, and you may decide that it's unreasonable and it doesn't make sense to do it but once every 6 months at the most, or maybe it should be once a year. I don't know. But it gives us a chance to say, okay, we budgeted this. Now here's where we're at on it. So I think about it. I don't think we need an answer right at the moment.
Sure.
I'd like to hear back from the staff members that, hey, this would make sense, or listen, you're out of your mind, that doesn't make sense. We'll do it at the end of the year, whatever you decide on it.
Can we have the minutes reflect, and then also for next meeting, for an agenda item, just as like a refresher to maybe revisit this as like, item for discussion? Maybe just to get your feedback on, maybe you guys can take some time to think of like what he's talking about and asking for, and maybe just come back to us and like what is appropriate, like what works for you.
Sure. I mean, I think it'd be as simple as having milestones, for an update. We're a quarter done with the project. Here we are with 25% of the project, 75% remaining. All right, we're half done. We have 50% remaining.
Yeah.
And then you can, once project completion is, I would assume there's going to be upon project completion, there's usually a lag by the time all the invoices come through.
Sure.
It's usually a month after we end up opening the road, because there's a lot of, believe it or not, we end up waiting for a lot of billing to come to us. It doesn't make any sense, but sometimes people are not in a hurry to get paid.
If you look at the sheet, the summary sheet, the 5-year, you're basically looking at 8 or 7, 8, 9 projects in each one of those years. So maybe that's exactly what you end up supplying or offering, is that here's what we had set up for the year 27. Here are the 8 of them, and you just, whatever time frame, again, you feel is appropriate, if it's 25%, 50%, or if it's quarterly or it's half a year. I think I'm pretty indifferent on that. From my thought process, it's just following and being able to track how we're doing.
If you don't mind, I can kind of add something to that too. If you look at this 5-year plan, with a few exceptions being 4s, almost everything is as of, was it last August, we completed our PACER ratings. These numbers are already 1 year old, and they are filling up 5 years worth of work. So a lot of the things that are 4s, 5s, and 6s right now, I'm kind of maybe exaggerating depending on how things go, but it's possible that half this amount of roads will also now be needed in the same kind of urgency that these are now. So this plan, it definitely is, I'll use the word aggressive, in order to make sure, or I guess at least portray that we would like to make sure that these 2s and 3s that are either on the fringe of failing or taking a pretty extreme amount of maintenance time, in some cases, this is pretty aggressive to try and get those fixed, just so we don't get into the same situation again. This isn't even the full extent of what I'll say what is needed. That's obviously, there's a little subjective factor within that. But this is a pretty aggressive plan just to try and catch up. The reason that I bring that up is because I don't remember who the request came from last time, but somebody did kind of ask a what would it take type of question. And that's what this was trying to address.
So with that said, then, this is obviously not the ready for approval stage. When exactly would a 5-year plan that we have in front of us be ready? I mean, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. When is this document going to be ready to present to the committee to vote on, to approve, and then to submit to the county board?
For just roadway?
For the 5-year plan, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm asking is,
Okay, sure.
this is only roadway.
Sure.
Our 5-year plan includes culverts, it includes structures, it includes signals.
That's that living document that we have, where we have our
Right.
signals, our culverts, our bridges, our
Sure.
everything. And so we were asked for a roadway 5-year plan, and that's what this is a roadway 5-year plan. And we have a lot, we have dams, we have, we have a lot of other infrastructure that engineering takes care of.
Got it. Okay.
And so it's, I guess, just to be more specific, what are you, I guess, looking for?
Because I mean, even real estate for those projects is part of that.
Yeah,
Has
we
to-
could have either one of these done with the exception of the real estate. That's can be more difficult to forecast ahead of time. We've done within a week.
Okay. I guess I need to consult with the chair. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if, just a recommendation.
Yeah.
So like bridges, we have inspected by, most of them are inspected every 2 years. You know, so we have an efficiency rating on those. I'm sure none of them are below 50%. Whatever, I think they've gone away from that 50%.
They've changed it, yes.
They've changed it, yeah, so. Whatever, you know, so bridges, you can say you're fairly okay on.
Yeah, we have one bridge on Highway C. We call it the Stone Bridge. It's actually just, I guess it'd be almost south of us, south of this building.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you
you know where it is. Yeah, it's just south of this building. That one is at a 50% or just below a 50%. And that one we are scheduled to be.
We have it in design and we've asked for a bridge aid on it.
You've got bridge, yeah, so.
So we only have one that's under the 50%. And I'm gonna still use the, use the
50%,
sufficiency
yeah.
rating, yeah.
Yes.
But we have 3 6 to 20 culverts that need to be replaced.
Okay, you see, so something like that, when, and I'm sure you do replacements on culverts prior to, you know, putting a road in,
Right.
if it's anywhere marginal,
Mhm.
you know, but culverts are kind of, I mean, you've got 6 to 20 culverts?
We have
6,
3 6 to 20s. One of them is the BD that failed.
so that's a grand, so that one's gonna last us a long time. Yeah.
It will once it's done.
Once it's done, yeah.
But aren't
So-
we getting emergency funds for that?
Correct.
Yeah, so would that even be, I'm sorry, forgive my ignorance, but is that gonna be factored into the whole plan, or is that not covered because it's gonna be?
So
Yeah.
the emergency funds, basically, that just comes from wherever you can grab it within the county. So if any projects went under,
Yeah.
all those overages come to that emergency procurement. So right now, we actually don't have any money for it. We're gonna be looking for that money to replace. Right now, we just basically have a closed road.
Yeah.
3/4 of the design is finished, and we're waiting to basically put that out to bid once we get permitting. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon.
Correct. We're waiting on the DNR.
But do we get reimbursed at all, like, because it's like a natural?
Well,
disaster,
depending
you know?
upon, and that goes into the federal aid calculation.
Yeah.
And it's so much damage per capita. I mean, the governor issued a state of emergency or emergency, and so did county executive. But FEMA has to come through, take a look at stuff, make an assessment themselves. And depending upon how much public infrastructure got damaged, they may say, yeah, we'll send you, we'll fix it. Otherwise, you know.
Yeah.
But we're on our own.
Yeah, in my experience with FEMA, I've applied for FEMA probably 8 times and I haven't got any money yet.
Really?
The last time I think we did get FEMA money here for public assistance was 2008 for that flood, but not the one that flooded Burlington, I don't believe. And then they used to pay us for blizzards, but that's gone away too.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah, yes,
to
sir.
the question they ask, which is an understandable and a correct one, we have been raising so much attention to understand the roadway situation. I would offer that that's what we would be looking to get in return is information on roadways, because
Right.
we understand that your capital budget entails multiple different types of scenarios vis-a-vis culverts or bridges or dams but this was the topic that I know several of the supervisors were very interested in. So I might recommend that we simply request this component. And by the way, it doesn't mean it wouldn't change down the road. Somebody might want to see something different, but for now, I would encourage this is the information we generate.
You just have to remember, You just have to remember that it's, you know, this is a slice of the pie,
That's
you
what I
know,
was referring
but
to.
Right.
the pie is only so big. So,
Yeah.
We gotta-
well, you have a 9-inch pie and you might have a 12-inch need. And that's nothing new. Every year we do this.
Yeah, because I think the goal was to, just talking with Chairman Rossi, was to adopt a formal road plan that we could send to the board. I think that was part of our discussion, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
So, I think you had discussions with him in terms of like what he was looking for. So I mean, that pretty much aligns with what Supervisor Horth was referring to. So I think that's kind of the direction we want to go. You know, Joe, are you part of those discussions or?
I was, yeah. That's why the document that we have,
Yeah.
or I guess documents in this case,
Yeah.
that's why it is only roads.
Yeah.
I just, there are other things that go into it. I don't want you to think that, hey, now when you have a budget to approve,
Sure.
why did 6 turn into 9 million?
Right.
Just, that's the only reason that I brought that extra up.
Sure. Okay, well, I think we have a road map, no pun intended, to go off of. So I'm not going to drag this out any further. Does anybody have any additional questions or comments? Supervisor Brandt, are you still on the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still here. Everything sounds perfect.
All right, excellent. All right, with that then, this will be another item for discussion and potential action at a later time then. Next item then is miscellaneous public works business referrals. Do we have any referrals? All right, so we do. Referrals, Racine County let's see, Racine County Facilities Management Notable Project Status Report for the month of March 2026, April 2026, and May of 2026. Do I have a motion to receive and file?
Motion as presented.
All right, motioned by Horace, seconded by Hoffman. Thank you, sir. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, youth and governance.
Aye.
All right, excellent. Next meeting then of the Public Works.
Let's see, unless, this one, unless. Might have. For the next meeting.
Okay. As of right now, we may have, right now, we have another Public Works meeting scheduled for July 9th at 5 PM. But it sounds like the chairman may have an additional meeting scheduled prior to that. But please watch your email for that. With that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion
All right. excellent.
seconded.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody.